How America went off the gold standard part 4. So fresh out of 1920, America found itself with a very high inflation rates and right straight into the second industrial revolution, which essentially meant for the manufacturers high efficiency, lower pay. What the Fed did back then, they lowered discount rates. So the banks that initially were operating on a basis of 25% of fractional reserve requirement, now they would drop it down to 18 and later on to 13%. Those banks that were operating on 15% basis down to 10%, and those banks that were operating on the level of 12% reserve requirement now went all the way down to 7%. Also, that meant that more and more currency units flooded the market, which spiked incredible boom on the stock market, where newly created investors and investment bankers would essentially drive so much on the price that this period is often characterized as a buying on leverage, because back then you could go out and buy the stocks investing 10% only, and then backed by 90 from the bank. When the money are cheap, what not to like? However, because market was so overhyped, people were believing that a new era is coming, and it did, because a number of great inventions, auto assembly line from Ford, electrification, telephones, were driving everyday reality back then. However, it was still a market that would operate on the reasonable while the expectations from the investors were way not reasonable. So throughout 20s, people were hyping on the market, and then in 1929 actually went down very bad, because again the profits by companies received were not in match with the investments made. And then in stock market collapse, it all dragged everyone into recession, which in 1933 has received an official name of Great Depression. And also in 1934, because of such a level of leverage, currency units